Hey everyone, and welcome to the Glow Up Girl podcast. I'm Kyra Mitchell Lewis, and thank you all for joining. Hope everyone is doing well out there. I hope your week is going great so far. It is, we are into December. I don't know about you, but I've been seeing all the memes out there where it's like we're going to blink and it's going to be Christmas. And it definitely, I don't know about you, but definitely feels that way to me. It was just November. And I was just talking about Thanksgiving and how we were going to have all, like thinking I had, all this time, but the year is just really has flown by. So okay, so we are here for another career series episode. So let's just rewind back, do a quick recap on what we talked about the last time, which was active leadership. So I gave you 6 things that active leaders do in the workplace. So here you go. 1, make informed decisions. 2, follow through on plans, commitments, and opportunities. 3, take care of people, both the people they lead and their customers. 4, take care of their company or team goals, so they ensure progress and success. 5, invest in personal development and evolve. And lastly, 6, they act. They don't leave things undone. All right, so we've got that. And if you missed that episode, you definitely need to, got the burpsies. Also, my fish scared me because with fish, there's a fish tank, an aquarium, I should say, near me. And the fish it's kind of big. I guess it's like about this length, and like he moves and sometimes he hits the rocks and it like scares me when I'm sitting here in my office. Probably more than you needed to know today, but here we are. So again, if you missed that episode, you can catch it wherever you listen to podcasts, or you can watch the episode on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. All right, so let's chat this week. So we know this is a time of year where many of us are taking part in annual reviews. I didn't know I personally just did a ton of reviews for my team, as well as my own self-assessment. And, one thing with reviews is that, obviously it's a time to be rewarded, with hopefully a merit increase, and in some cases, a promotion. And so a lot of times when we're preparing ourselves or we're working towards that promotion, sometimes, and I'm not saying this happens all the time, but this happened to me. So we're friends, we're talking. A lot of what I share with you is based on, my own personal experiences. So this is just looking at a moment where you are expecting to be promoted, but you don't get promoted. And so these are things that you can do to avoid that, right? So there was a moment in maybe 2 jobs ago where I was definitely expecting a promotion. And well, what happened is I didn't get the promotion. Another person got the promotion. And I was really annoyed about that, actually quite hurt over that. But now, where I am today in my life, I'm able to see that, well, yes, maybe I deserved the promotion because of the merit of my work, doesn't necessarily mean that means you're going to get the promotion. So what I'm going to do is give you 15 things. I know there are a lot of things, but I'm going to go through them fast. But I think there are going to be things that really help you. There are 15 things to avoid when you're seeking a promotion. And also, if you're watching this episode, yes, it's that time of the year when the sun is sitting like right here at my office window, and I should have closed the blinds before I started to record, but here we are. We're gonna push through today. All right, so let's start with number 1. And I'm probably, gosh, I hope, there's 15. I didn't number these, but probably going to get thrown off, but asking for too much at once. So if you want a promotion, right? And if you're working towards that, I think that that should be something that has been discussed with your manager. Like, your manager should know. You can't assume that your manager knows that you want to be promoted. I mean, I think we all like to think that they know we want growth, right? And as a manager, you should know who wants to grow on your team. Like, who's just like, okay, give me merit increases, give me money, and who wants to actually, like, elevate in the career, in their career. So, but as the employee, the team member, when you're asking, a lot of times people ask for, I want to be promoted. I want this amount of money. I want this other thing. And I want this other thing. And I want this other thing. It's okay to have like it's okay to have like items or, a list of things that you like if you were to be promoted, but you really have to make sure that you know what those priorities are and what's most important to you. Is it most important for you to get more money and a title? Okay, those are the things. Those are things that your manager should know. But don't go in there and start talking about, oh, I want a title change. I want $40,000. Oh, I want to work from home. I want 3 days at home. I want this thing and this thing and, all these things. But have a concise list, and just be careful that you don't ask for too much at once. All right. Number 2. I just spoke about this, believing that promotions are based on merit alone, because they're not. They're not. They are based on you communicating to your manager what it is that you want. Because in my case, yeah, I mean, I talked to my manager and said, obviously, that I wanted to be promoted. I'd said this, but then there are also other factors that come into play when you're being promoted, because a lot of times, just say, for example, if you are at like a coordinator level and you're looking to be, if the next step up is maybe an associate manager or even a manager, right? A lot of those can be pushed through at your manager's levels most time, right? Your manager can make the recommendation. This person has been rocking it, knocking it out of the box. They are exceeding, are going like above and beyond. They're outstanding at everything that they do. And I'm ready to move them to the next level. Now, as you start to elevate up, say you're a senior manager looking to be a director, or a director looking to be a senior director or VP, that is where a lot of times it comes into play, your interactions with people inside of the company, the value you bring inside of the walls of the business. And that is where it's not generally, unfortunately, we would like for it to be this way, but it's not. It's not just based on your merit. It's based on your collaboration with other teams. It's based on, like I said, your interaction with other leaders. How do other people in the company see you? Are those people vouching for you? At my last job, there used to be this calibration exercise where the manager would go into the room. So my manager at the time was a director. She'd go into the room with other directors on the team, and they basically go through each team member and score you. Like, she go in with her score with, oh, I think that Kyra deserves, she deserves a 5. And I'm not exaggerating. I did get 5. Before I left that job, my last review, I got all 5. So she would have to calibrate with other people, other leaders, as to why I deserve this 5, and, and take feedback from them on my performance. So that is where it becomes much larger than just about the work, because if there's a leader in the room that you do not work with that often, or they're not as familiar with you, that could hinder you getting a promotion. So that's number 2. Number 3, neglecting your long-term goals. So you don't want to get so focused on getting a promotion, and it doesn't necessarily jive with your long-term goals, because you have to ask yourself, does this fit? Does this ultimately fit in where I want my career to go in the next 5 years? And I wouldn't say 10 because I like to keep things in smaller chunks. I mean, I think life is very different these days. And so we tend to, we're not necessarily long-term planning all the time. I think 5 years is like a long time. So you have to ask yourself that question. And if getting a promotion at the job you're in doesn't fit into, because you may say in 5 years, you know what? I don't actually even know if I'm going to be at this company. I actually see myself maybe transitioning to here. And I think that that's important because sometimes, as much as you want to be promoted, I mean, I think like if you're being a good steward of like for the company, for yourself, like it's okay to just take a step back and say, maybe I don't need to be working that hard or pushing for this thing because I don't know that I see myself here in the next 5 years. Okay. All right. Moving on. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Trying too hard. You don't want to overdo it. I read something when I was researching for this episode that said, also referred to the office brown noser. So like, don't be the person that's just sucking up to, don't be the person sucking up to the boss. Know that I would say like it's the brown nosing or sucking up. I think trying too hard. I think sometimes when people want to be promoted, sometimes you can overextend yourself. I like to look at it that way versus saying someone is brown nosing, because I think sometimes people just have personalities and that maybe you're someone who is helpful and you're trying to, you try to help your manager, you try to help others. And sometimes people can see that as brown nosing. But I would say don't overextend yourself, because I think what happens when we want to get promoted, hand raised, have done this, we continue to take on these projects, right? Because we think that this next project is going to be the one. If I do this thing, then this is surely going to be the thing that gets me to that promotion. And a lot of times, honestly, that's not going to be the case. That's why it's important for you to outline your requests, to talk to your manager about what it is you want. Okay, manager, I would like to be the director of fun and all things jolly in the office. What do I need to do to get to that position? What goals do I need to meet? So, over the next 6 months, if that's the case, 6 to 12, whatever, over the next 6 to 12 months, I need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need to complete these things to move over. And I think a lot of times in jobs is that people don't know what the goal is to get them, what the steps are to get to that goal. So therefore the goalposts keep moving, because when you haven't had a conversation and you haven't, sort of put that back on management to tell you, to align with you, because it's something that you can easily work out together. You can both sit down and write out what those steps should be to get you promoted. But I think a lot of times that in corporate, especially, it's just easy to say, oh, okay, well, I just haven't seen it yet. Haven't seen it yet. So, we're just going to keep working on it. And I think until you like push or force their hand to actually like give you something that's documented, it will be easy to continue to like move the goalposts. And then you end up, as I say, you end up overextending yourself, which AKA trying too hard because you're doing too much. And then you just keep doing these projects and you keep getting let down because you don't get the promotion. Okay, moving on to the next one. I've already lost count, so we're just going to keep going. Thinking a promotion will fix everything. I mean, a promotion, money is never going to like equate to like finding joy in your job. I mean, it will offer you temporary happiness because you've got a promotion, which, you've got a new title, which can help you with finding, your next job potentially. Or money, can obviously help you to like lessen the pain of going to a place where you may not be excited about being. But ultimately, if there are core issues at the core, right, that don't align to like your core values, if there are things inside of like the corporate space or the job, the environment where you already work, getting a promotion won't fix those things. It will still be, there'll still be an issue, right? So I would just caution you as to like not think that the promotion is going to fix everything. Okay, so I'm back. Sorry, I had to close those blinds. And as you can see, the sun is still here, guys. Like it's like it's like right here. So this girl is gonna have to invest in some curtains because it's like that crease right in the middle of like your blinds, like where there's just a sliver and it is just enough for the sun to come in. So, but you know what? We are going to push through. All right, so let's see, where were we? All right, so we just talked about thinking a promotion will fix everything. Up next is overshooting your target. So what do we mean by overshooting your target? It means that you are, let's see. It means sometimes that you're biting off more than you can chew. It means that you are trying. I understand, you'll hear this line a lot. And I know I've heard it a lot in corporate America that, you should be working for the job that you want to have or the role that you want to be in. So say, for example, if you're a manager and you want to be a director, then you should be working like a director. But sometimes you're just not there yet, right? Sometimes you are not there. You need time to grow, need time to get there. And I think a lot of times when people want to get promoted, they start to try to almost like pretend that they are at a level that they may not be at yet. And sometimes you can get promoted and you can bite off more than you chew because you're not actually ready for the role or the promotion that you have asked for. So it is really, really important to, just understand, to self-reflect and to understand where you are in your career. And I know that sometimes, you see people, your peers, you see people around you who may be getting certain things or, like, oh yeah, these people, they're my age and, they're getting this, they have this title. And sometimes you just have to look at where you are on your journey, and where you are is very different. Most times you're not going to be in the same place as people that you're friends with or coworkers. So it's really just important to acknowledge that. And that's why I said, I think having conversations with your manager beforehand, when you're starting to think about, what does my career journey look like? It's important to identify like the gaps that you need to fill or the steps that you need to take in order to get to the next level. Okay, up next, not making it a win-win. So, if you're going to be promoted, right, it's got to be a win-win for you and your manager. So what that simply means is that when your manager promotes you, they're trusting you. They're trusting you that you are going to elevate even more from the role that you're currently in, because the role that you're currently in, apparently you're rocking it, you're killing it, you're a superstar. So now you need to be able to go in and take some of those responsibilities or projects from them. You can even work to do that. I think that's part of when promotions really work well, is when the team member has already started to think about like, well, what does it look like when I make it to the VP position? How does that look for my manager? What am I taking away from my manager? What am I able to delegate to members of my team? So I think making it a win-win for like everyone involved is really important too when you're trying to get that promotion. All right. Next is sometimes it's the wrong place and it's the wrong time. And what I mean by that is when you're wanting to talk about a promotion with your manager, it's understanding, when is the most inviting time to talk to your manager, right? So I'm going to give an example. Shout out to you, Christy Anderson, if you're listening. So I knew that my manager, Christy, she was like, no, you're not talking to me first thing in the morning, because she came in the morning, she got organized, she worked prior to meetings, but I knew that, you know what, you might find time with her around like 3 o'clock in the afternoons when she's had time to work. She's had a lot of meetings. I mean, and it's right at the cusp before it's like 4 o'clock when she's trying to like get that last push of the day. So it's understanding like the right times to have conversations with your managers that actually are, allow them to not feel overwhelmed. Like don't grab your manager first. Don't set a meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning with your manager on a Monday to talk about being promoted. Like, I think that's like a recipe for disaster in any case. No matter who it is, no matter what, it's fresh off the weekend, it's Monday, people are trying to get in and get organized and get ready to go. So just make sure that you think about the right time and the right place. I mean, is it asking them to go to lunch with you? So it just is like sort of summing that up to like see what's the right timing and the right place to have a conversation with your manager. All right, the next one, and Lord knows y'all, I have completely lost count. So I don't know where we are, but the next one is just asking to be promoted because you've been employed there for a really long time. And I think, obviously we're just talking as friends here, and you probably are thinking like, who would do that? But people do that. Just because you've been somewhere for a really long time doesn't entitle you to a promotion or even a raise. I mean, it is all about the merit and the value that you are bringing to the company. Remember that, like every time it's going to be about the value add that you bring to the company. I can't say that enough. So you need to be able to go in there and say, here are my achievements. Here's what I've done. Here's how I've contributed to the business. With that being said, that takes me to the next one. Not having a recent significant achievement or milestone that supports your request. You can't go in and ask to be promoted and you haven't done anything. We all know that being promoted means that you are going above and beyond. You've done something spectacular. Like, let's just be honest, right? Like, you've done something like magnificent, and that is why you're being promoted. Like, you are a notch above the rest. You have your boss is like, wow, if this person ever left, I don't know what will happen. But you're a rock star. Like, you are a rock star. And I think that you have to have achievements to support your request of being promoted. All right. Here's one of my favorites, because people do this, but it is using the request of wanting a promotion to test your employer. It's trying to see, like, if I tell them, like, I got another job. And I think there's some good and some bad to that, right? I mean, I think that if you are really considering maybe transitioning out of the business, like, it's okay to go to them and have a conversation about it. But like, if like, you're not going to go anywhere, but you're just going to use that to see if you can get some more money. But, the thing of it is, again, I'm going to go back to the value add and what have you done to help to grow the business? Because that's still really important. Like, that's going to be the answer. Like, I think every time it's like, what merit do you have to support this request? So don't do it just to test someone. I mean, and I think too, like, when I think about it, and we're going to go off to the left just a minute with this one particular example. Excuse me. I remember we were interviewing somebody at a previous job, and the person was only really interviewing because they wanted to get their company to give them a raise. And to me, it's like, if you have to do all of that to just get a raise, then I think that there is a problem, because, but I would always say, make sure you're having conversations with your current employer, right? Before I left my last company to go to the company I'm with today, it was not like a surprise. It wasn't a surprise to my manager when I resigned, because I had already had conversations. We'd already talked about growth. I already talked about money and the fact that I wanted to make more money based on the amount of work that I was being asked to do. Like, those two things did not balance out. And, and nothing was done to meet that request. So then when I decided to do something different, it wasn't for a test. I didn't come and say, hey, I've got this job offer, I want you to meet it. No, I just came and said I'm leaving because I'd already had all the conversations. So using the request of trying to get a promotion to just test them to see they're going to do it, I say no to that. Don't do that. All right, the next one, acting inappropriately. You want to be promoted, can't be around the corner, talking, complaining. You can't be complaining to other people about it, right? So you need to definitely, if you'll notice a recurring theme in a lot of these things, lead back to the fact that you should just be communicating with your manager. Because I think it is like sitting down, and that's one thing that annual review will force you to do. It will force you to write down and outline your successes for the year. I mean, one of the things at my current job, we have these journals inside of our portal, where you are allowed, I always try to tell my team, capture the wins. So then when you get to the end of the year, you don't have to it should, you're not spinning your wheels trying to figure out what did I do? What did I do? You're able to you're able to just go back and look and say, oh, okay, yeah, here I did this in April, I did this in June, did this in July, and it'll be easier for you to put that together. So again, if you are wanting to get that promotion, it's about communication. It's about writing down, having your information together. It's about talking to your manager and just having those conversations about what it is that you would want. Okay, so up next is not having your facts about your job responsibilities to match with what you're asking for. It's similar. These are all sort of tied together now, right? It's about really having a logical reason for why you think you need to be promoted. And it goes back to that, just because you have tenure, it doesn't mean that you're promoted. I mean, we all play different roles in an organization, right? There are some people in an organization who are there and, and they're I know my job. I'm going to do my job. I'm going to do my job well. And I'm going to get these merit increases, every year. And I'm not looking for a big promotion. I'm not looking to lead the team. I'm not looking to have leadership position, and that's understood. But if you are looking for that leadership responsibility, you are looking to be promoted, then you need to make sure that the work that you're doing aligns to that, right? Also, your experience level, the fact that you're going to be taking on more responsibility, the achievements, all those things. Like I said, there's a theme here. You'll see, we just talked about making sure that, making sure that you have milestones and achievements that support the request. So again, it's just making sure that like you're not prematurely asking for an opportunity that you're not quite at the level yet on the journey. All right, so up next, looks like we're at number 14 now. Lack of persistence. So when you want to be promoted, right, and you know that you deserve it, you've got all the paperwork, the things, sometimes some people give up too soon. And I think that you should be persistent in a meaningful way, which is set up meetings, like you can have off-cycle review, you can have also off-cycle check-ins, right? The company I'm with now, they do 2 reviews per year. So there's a mid-year and then an end of year, job before, mid-year, end of year. So even within the mid-year and the end of year, you can set up touch bases with your manager to just say, hey, just want to check in. Here's what I'm tracking towards. Here's what where I'd like to be, in this next review cycle. How do we get me here? Or next year, right? If you're in the mid-year, you say, now a year from now, I'd like to be promoted. So let's talk about those steps. And so when we meet at the end of the year, I will give you a status of where I am on that list of things, because I think it's a lot easier. It's easier for you to get to the end goal that you want. And it's a lot harder for your company or your manager to say, well, I didn't know what you want. All right. And number 15, it is jumping the ship too soon. Sometimes, and team members can leave too soon, right? And I mean that in the sense of, if you haven't done these steps that, some of the things we've, talked about doing as it relates to like making sure you've got your achievements, making sure you've got everything in line. Now, because some people, there are some worlds and some companies where people do promote people without them asking for it, right? Your boss just notices that you've been doing you've been kicking butt and you're a rock star, and they're going to promote you, but maybe you leave too soon, or you've already just got tired of waiting. So that's why, again, I think communication is key, because it's not a secret, right? It doesn't have to be a secret to anybody that this is what your end goal is. And then your manager, if your manager is trying to proactively get you promoted, then they can tell you that, because they know, well, I know that Kyra wants to be promoted. I'm in the background working on it. I'm going to keep having a conversation with her so that she knows that I'm working on it, and give her my timing so that she doesn't leave, she doesn't go somewhere else. And I think that doesn't happen enough in corporate America. A lot of times it's just, it's always when the person resigns that somebody was working on it. Oh my gosh, tickle myself. But okay, so those are the 15 things, and I hope that you found them helpful. So just quickly, because there are 15. 1, asking for too much at once. 2, believing that promotions are based on merit alone. 3, neglecting your long-term goals. 4, overextending yourself, trying too hard. 5, thinking a promotion will magically fix everything. 6, overshooting your target. 7, not making it a win-win for you, your manager, your company. 8, wrong place at the wrong time. 9, asking for a promotion or raise simply based on your tenure. 10, not having recent achievements to support your requests. 11, using the promotion request to test your employer. 12, acting inappropriately. 13, not having your job responsibilities aligned to the promotion that you're asking, along with your experience and credentials. 14, lack of persistence. And 15, jump the ship too soon. Whew, that was a lot, friends. That was a lot with the sun. Like, the sun is like sun is like giving it to me today. But I do hope that you found these to be helpful. And if you are in that at that point of an annual assessment and you are thinking about asking for a promotion, or if you're thinking about, next year being that year that I want to get, promoted, I hope you'll take these into consideration, right? And just sort of look at like, oh, if I'm doing these things or if I'm thinking this way, I don't, let me turn, course correct. But I really think at the core of it, it really is communicating, use this time of the year when you have these annual reviews with your manager to have a transparent conversation about what you want and ask them if they can support you and how to help you meet those goals. I really think that will go really far for you. So now that we, have talked about the things you shouldn't do, you want a promotion, don't do these things. Now, say you're coming off of your annual assessment and you thought you were going to get promoted, but you didn't. I'm thinking about something there, maybe an episode around how to get the promotion, how to turn it, because a lot of times when you don't get it, there's a letdown, right? When I didn't get the promotion, there was a letdown for me. And there were just a range of emotions and things that I went through to get there. So we might cover that in our next career episode. I'm not 100% sure yet. I actually try to let these episodes kind of go where, I talk to some friends and try to see like what's going on in workplaces, sometimes like a lot of these experiences that I share are based on like previous work experiences for me. So, we'll see where it goes. I've got 2 weeks, figure out, our next episode here. But before I go, if this information has resonated with you, there are other episodes that you can check out in the career series. Wherever you are listening today or watching, if you're on YouTube, you can just scroll down. There'll be other career series episodes. If you're on a podcast platform, Spotify, Apple, Pandora, iHeart, you can just scroll down and look for the career series episodes, and you can listen to any of those. But also, if you're in a place, we are at the end of the year, and if you find yourself in a place where you're thinking, I just don't know. Like, I don't know what 2023 holds for me. Like, is it time for me to do something different? Is it time for me to pivot? Like, am I ready to transition, change, like industries? I've got 2 things you can do. Actually, I got 3 things that you can do. One is you can go over to globegirl.com. I've got a very fun little quiz there that will help you determine, right, one of 3 things. 1, I'm happy, finding purpose, I'm ready to elevate. 2, I'm okay. I don't know. I mean, I might be finding purpose. Not really sure if I want to elevate here or not. And 3, nope. I'm not finding anything. No purpose, no joy, no nothing. I got to pivot. So it's a fun little quiz to help you sort of figure out where you are. And after you take that quiz, if you've been listening to these episodes here now for a while and you're like, that Kyra, I mean, she might be somebody that I want to talk to. I invite you to set up a 15, 20 minute chat with me so we could talk about how I can help you. One thing that has helped me in my career that I've really utilized in managing other people and my teams is that it all starts with people understanding who they are and what strengths they bring to the table. And I think if you work to help someone elevate in areas in which they are strong, then they will, as we say here, glow up from there. So that is really what I'd like to talk to you about, is how can I help you in that journey? So that's the second way. And third, I'm asking you today to save the date. I'll be hosting a free webinar on January 14th. And it's just around that. It's about, jumpstarting your 2023, your career. and figure it out. Like, I'll tell you a little bit more about my personal career journey, where I started, how I got to where I am today. We'll do a fun little strengths exercise, and then I'll talk to you about how we can work together, and I can help you to elevate in 2023. So if you're like feeling like, oh my gosh, like what is going on? I'm ready for a change. Sometimes you just need someone to help guide you and get you there. And so I hope that, you will consider me to help you get there. All right. So it's that time, people. It's that time where we're gonna go. We're gonna say goodbye to each other. It's been great as always. I can't wait to come back and chat with you again. Hopefully next time I come back, there won't be a sun line across my face here. Or maybe I will have invested in some curtains because I'm thinking that's what I need. But in the meantime, if you have any thoughts, any topics, any feedback you'd like to share, which, you can tell me to stop hitting the mic because I'm always waving my arms. If you have anything, oh, wow, the sun moved. Great. So I can slide back over. You can feel free to email me at hello@glowupgirl.com. As always, I thank you all so much for the support, and I can't wait to see you the next time. Until then, stay focused, fab, and glow up. Take care, everyone.